Well, this afternoon, Russia started making some very important power moves in the Persian Gulf region. Apparently, Russia is, first of all, agreeing to mediate a non-aggression pact between the Gulf states and Iran, who seem to be at each other's throats lately. You've been reading the headlines, right? Seemingly egged on by none other than John Bolton. But then again, so Russia then apparently announces something else. It announced that it has rejected. Now, I'm going to report this with some caution, by the way, to be journalistically sound on this. It has, there are reports that it has rejected Iran's request to buy the S-400 missile defense system. Bloomberg started reporting on this early today. In fact, Bloomberg has actually put out the word that Vladimir Putin himself quashed this deal. But just within the last few hours, we got word that inside Russia, defense minister officials have said that it's not true, that they have not firmly agreed to not sell the S-400 to Iran. So the report that everyone has gone with, now apparently Russia is pulling back on that report and saying that's not true. We did not say that. Bloomberg apparently is still sticking to its guns on the story. What's it mean? All right, let's talk about this. Joining us now is former Pentagon official Michael Maloof here to talk to us. Let's start with the S-400. First of all, it would not be bizarre for Russia to tell Iran at this particular time, we're not going to sell you the S-400, right?
That's correct, because they've done it in the past.
It's in keeping kind of where they're kind of positioning themselves now?
For two reasons. Number one, they don't want to create an arms race at this juncture because they've talked about, Iran has actually offered a non-aggression pact, which Moscow has said they will basically help broker. So you can't help broker a non-aggression pact and then sell arms at the same time. Who are you going to fight? Someone, you know, you're trying to keep the peace in the region.
Right.
So in one sense, that story initially makes sense, given the timing. On the other hand, Russia may not want to do this because of sanctions under what's called the Countering America Adversaries Through Sanctions Act, or CAATSA, C-A-A-T-S-A.
By the way, make our viewers understand, or help our viewers understand, why the S-400 missile system is so important, and what is it?
Well, it's an advanced system of the S-300, which is basically an anti-aircraft, but it's also good against UAVs, drones, cruise missiles, also the terminal end of a ballistic missile. It doesn't have a hunt and kill capability that the U.S. Patriot system does. That's why it's intriguing to see that the Turks want to go with the S-400 as opposed to the Patriot system because it's more capable.
Let me ask you about the fact that the Russians are now willing to get in there and mediate, you know, mano a mano between the Gulf states and Iran. And let me, as a side note, mention that it's just the opposite of what Bolton seems to be doing, which is egging on a conflict between these two countries.
Oh, it's terrible because you're getting conflicting signals on the outside. This could be a good cop, bad cop routine, but you're also getting stories that Bolton has gotten out beyond his own skis, and that he hasn't gotten the memo yet that Trump is at the negotiating stage, not the bombastic stage.
Well, let's be specific so our viewers know what we're talking about. So for the last 5 days, Bolton has been going to all the Gulf states and telling them Iran is bombing your ships, your cargo ships, and they've been putting missiles in them. We haven't seen any proof, but it's like it's almost like saying, hey, look what those guys are doing.
Yeah, no documentation. He's trying to instigate a war. The question is why at this time? Again, it might fit in the scenario, but also he has his own agenda. He's been meeting in the UAE. He met separately with the UAE officials and the Saudi officials. What we're hearing is that he's trying to pave the way under his little his ideological approach to this thing to allow Iraq to keep troops in U.S. troops in Iraq, and let the Saudis pay for it.
But finally, this is what gets me back to. People say that Putin is very Machiavellian, and he probably is. I mean, you have to be Machiavellian to do what he does, right? Given that, and if he is, wouldn't it make sense that he sees all these headlines where Bolton is causing all this conflict? Now he and Russia are going to step in and be the good guys and bring everybody to the peace table. Makes sense, right? If nothing else, you do it because
he's trying to show that he's trying to tamp down the rhetoric because things are extremely tense. One spark out there could ignite the entire region.
So are they really doing it, or are they doing it for show?
I think they are serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, and they may be in the best position to be able
they are in the best
to
position.
bring both sides.
Exactly.
Well done, as usual,
Thank you.
Michael. Thank you.
you.
Appreciate having you here on a Friday. I'm Rick Sanchez. You found us on YouTube, and that's awesome. But you know what? I'm also live every night at 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern on DirecTV and Dish and cable and satellite, the RT app, and Pluto TV. I'll see you there.